Hey, what's going on, everybody? Here we are, back at the New Wave Podcast Studios. I'm actually at a new setting today, back at school, thankfully. So unfortunate that UChicago starts so late. I was at home from August to September, and now I just started my first week of school, and it's literally October. So that was a little unfortunate for me. I was very impatient to get back, but here I am, glad to be back at Chicago with all my friends, everyone that I know. So yeah, here I am today with Yusuf and David.
Yep. Hi, everybody. So excited to be back on the new wave. For me, I'm in about like my fifth week of school at MIT. It's been going great so far, and super excited to continue getting these videos out to you guys. So today we'll bring to you guys David Mao, the founder of UGC.inc. David, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm currently 16, in high school. I'm a junior right now. And initially I was planning on dropping out of high school, but then I actually found out that it was illegal in my state. But the thing is, it's not illegal in California. So let's just say there's more than one reason I'm moving to California, if you catch my drift, yeah.
Yeah. Um, so wait, on that note, I think I'll kickstart things off with asking, what made you want to drop out of high school? What was going through your head at that time?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've always been like good at school, but not great, right? And then just the nature of school, um, a lot of the things are not really high ROI. Like, if I spend 3 hours um, memorizing flashcards for a Spanish quiz or like a history quiz, like I'm not really gonna use that information later in life. But if I'm out here talking to crack people like you guys and building meaningful relationships and like building a startup, that's like infinite dividends in the future.
Yeah.
Fair enough,
Um,
but to that point, I will say, just being at this school and like Yusuf's at an amazing school as well, you are
Hmm.
surrounded by people like that when you get to
Yeah.
college. High school is a little different because it's like you're in your hometown and everyone sort of has the same mindset. But think of it like a little fish in a big pond, big fish, little pond, you know? So eventually,
Mhm.
unfortunately, we're all going to be little fishes. Even the crack people, we're all little fishes. The goal is to be that big fish, and to transition from different ponds, different sizes, medium pond, large pond. And then I feel like if you surround yourself with those big fishes, those sharks, you learn through osmosis on a lot of the times. And that place to be at, especially when you're young, is going to be school. But I totally understand where you're going. High school is like you spend hours and hours learning about Declaration of Independence and a bunch of other stuff that, yeah, it's important. Yeah, I want to know my constitutional rights, but I really don't need to memorize every single word on it, which is a
Yeah.
little inconvenient.
Hmm.
But yeah,
yeah.
I did want to ask you, how does your family feel about all this? Because I cannot imagine my mom. I don't know what your background is, but I come from an immigrant background. I can't imagine my immigrant mom I'm telling her one day I want to drop out of high school. She would absolutely obliterate me if I did that.
Okay, so I have an interesting answer and then like a long answer. I'll give you the interesting answer first. Um, so I was watching this CS50 lecture with Mark Zuckerberg when he was like really young. And I just remember like one thing he said. It was like, as a good general rule of thumb, you want to do things first without asking for permission, and then ask for forgiveness after you've already done it, because in that way, like, things actually happen, exciting things actually happen. Like, without that, Facebook wouldn't exist, Instagram wouldn't exist, Meta, like the Meta glasses. But there's obviously caveats to that. Um, so like in my case, right, I was mostly doing like startup stuff on my own. Um, but I think if you're making like a super big decision, like dropping out of high school or college, like you have a more responsibility to tell your parents, which is what I did. It was definitely a very difficult conversation. Um, but like surprisingly, my parents are they've never really been that strict on like grades and stuff. They're more like chill and laid back. I remember when I was in like third grade, my 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 classmates were like, do your parents, you know, like yell at you if you don't get an A, and I was like, like what? I've never had that happen. Um, but I'm sure like a lot of people did have that happen. Um, but yeah, it's just like a gradual process. I think times have definitely changed regarding education. Um, I'll say right now, like if you're doing STEM, like anything STEM related, definitely go to college. Like you absolutely need a college degree.
Yeah.
But if you're doing stuff like marketing or like human resources or like humanities, like you don't really need a college degree. Like if you're a hiring manager hiring for a marketing role, would you rather hire someone who has a 4 year degree in philosophy or like another dude with 4 years of marketing experience, you know?
Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah, I definitely understand where you're coming from. Just going through college right now, you definitely want to have that degree, but at the same time, like I was saying earlier, like sometimes it's about who you know and what not what you know.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
finding that balance of trying to actually learn and then also networking and putting yourself out there is really, really interesting. But let's get into the nitty gritty. For people who don't know, what is UGC Inc. and what problem are you solving?
Yeah, so we were originally creating this product that um, it's basically like Cluely, but for test taking, and then it's like completely undetectable. And then we were trying to figure out ways to distribute the product, but like UGC was really expensive. Like this base rate is like $20, $25 per video, and then like $1,000 if they get 1 million views, which is like extremely expensive, especially if you're starting out. So we figured out a way to create thousands of warmed up TikTok accounts, and like for the people watching who don't know what warmed up means, like let's say you create a TikTok account and you post the video, right? The video is going to get 0 views because TikTok thinks that you're a bot, right? So the way you prove to TikTok's algorithm that you're not a bot is by interacting with TikTok's algorithm, like for example, scrolling on the feed for like 20-30 minutes a day, liking posts, commenting, following people, that kind of stuff for 2 to 3 days, to prove to TikTok's algorithm that you are an actual human. But we automated that process as well. So now we have like thousands of TikTok accounts that are all warmed up, but just the accounts themselves, it's not that powerful, right? So we also created this video generation software to pair with the account generation software, where any startup company or just any company in general can come onto our platform, paste in their website URL, upload a few demo videos of their product, and then we can generate hundreds of videos of the of promoting of videos promoting their product, and then we distribute those hundreds of videos onto hundreds of TikTok accounts.
Wow. So
Wow.
it's like throwing spaghetti onto the wall, essentially.
Yeah, like crazy A/B testing. And like all the
Yeah.
videos are like variations of each other. Like the subtitles might be different, the music in the background might be different, the people in the video might be different, like the hashtags, all variations. And let's say like statistically, if you post um, 1,000 videos across 1,000 accounts per month, like statistically, out of 1 million videos, there has to be a few that really pop off and get like millions of views. And you just take those videos, set that as the new default, and then just keep rinsing and repeating.
Oh yeah,
I
that
see.
makes
I mean, that's really cool.
Thank
And
you.
like you mentioned, like you how like you guys are automating this process and creating something that can generate these videos based on like the demos and stuff. And like,
Mhm.
I would presume that like in order to develop all of this like tech, like you guys have to have like some sort of like funding or like being backed by somebody to like to get this show on the road. So I was just wondering, like, as a 16-year-old, you know, you said you're considering dropping out of high school. Like, how did these conversations like even happen for you, without like the usual like resume or like credentials? Like how did you manage to do that?
I think I can attribute around like 90% of my initial success to simply constantly reminding the world that you exist. And the main way I did that is just by posting daily on LinkedIn. But in hindsight, like I think I would have gotten much greater impact if I also did like video or face content, like documenting the whole journey, which I gotta like get on that right now. But like on investing and like raising money, we're closing our pre-seed round like this week ish. Um, a lot of it is just like vibes and ideas, right? We did get some pretty decent traction, um, but it's really just showing like who you are, like what you do, your vision, and if that vibes with you, like invest in early, and then you'll be like you'll be a very reputable angel investor, and also make a lot of money.
Yeah.
Cool. Do you work with anybody else? You keep saying we. How big is the team that you guys are at UGC?
It's right now it's 3 people. One is the technical co-founder, who's also like a college dropout. He's like really cracked. Raised like 150K for his own little startup. And then our CMO is an ex Cluely, like ex Cluely, one of the top creators of like for UGC. So she'll be managing like our UGC program. Um, yeah, so like our current our initial issue was like we could only sell to companies that already have people making content for them. Um, and then we would just like we would take their content and then input it into our software, and then we would distribute those videos across hundreds of TikTok accounts. But
Yeah.
if they already if they don't already have content generated, it's like we can't really sell to them right now. So our plan um, in the near future is to have like an in-house UGC program where even if a startup company doesn't already have content created, we can create the content for them by having like 10 in-house UGC creators coached by one of the top um, Cluely UGC creators. Uh, so that opens up a lot of new exciting opportunities.
Yeah. Funny that you mentioned that your CMO is from Cluely because I was on your website and I was talking to Yusuf. I was like, this literally looks like a Cluely website because it was the exact same marketing style, like really like colloquial and like sort of like appealing to Gen Z, honestly. Like you've seen that billboard in Times Square for Cluely. It's gone
Mhm.
viral. It's cool that you guys are following those footsteps. Um, yeah, I will say, have you guys thought about like posting? Well, a lot of I understand that the accounts are all like bots, and then you distribute user-generated content amongst those accounts, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Have you guys thought about AI generated content being distributed by AI? Because that's even like really huge. I think we've had our previous host guest was the deep fake guy, and then we've been talking about AI generated content for a while now. So what are your thoughts on AI generated content?
Yeah, bro. AI is getting crazy, man. Like Sora 2 just dropped a few days ago. It's absolutely insane. Very realistic. Um, I think like the AI videos that are going viral right now, they're typically just like for the fun, for the fun of it, like just funny videos, taken out of context, that kind of stuff. Um, but I've also seen like other startup companies who already have like a really solid um, video generation software using AI or like AI avatars. Um, so we've kind of pivoted more to focus on the account generation and the account auto posting rather than the video generation. Um, we might dial the video generation back to just like upload a bunch of like videos generated by this other AI company, and then we take those videos and generate like 100 variations of those videos, so we're not starting from scratch. And then we just distribute those hundreds of videos onto our TikTok accounts.
Yeah, you sound like you have a strong grasp on TikTok and that algorithm.
Yeah. And kind of like going back to like what David was saying about, like having that strong grasp on like TikTok. Like you guys are like growing like pretty rapidly as a company, kind of like, getting your name out there, reminding people that you guys exist. I really wanted to ask, like, as a 16-year-old like startup founder, like what misconceptions do you think like people might have about that?
Hmm. I think most people um, they like don't see the alignment between like age and your experience. So like for example, Mr. Beast is like pretty young, um, but he's already like an unk, like he's a veteran when it comes to like content creation in YouTube because he started so young. He started at like 11 or 12. So like compared to a 30-year-old who's just starting posting on YouTube, like Mr. Beast has like infinite knowledge on him and experience on him. Um, but also it's just cool to like as older startup founders, it's cool to see like a young person taking initiative and like not going down the conventional path, you know.
Yeah, when you
Yeah.
think about it, let's say you've been doing content for 4 years or a little bit more than that. As a 16-year-old, that's like a quarter of your life, you know? So compared to like 30-year-olds who have done it for 4 years, that's like they've had way longer experience. And yeah, experience is good sometimes, but also it like sort of trains you to think in one way. And I feel like if you have a very young mind, starting something like this, a startup, you are sort of more malleable to the people around you and to the people that you surround yourself with who will give you a lot of advice, and you get to learn from that in that sense, which is honestly a really great opportunity for you. So, on that advice and branding thing, how important is personal branding for you and for young founders today, especially those who are only 16?
I think as a good general rule of thumb, like personal branding is almost always more important than the company's branding, because even if your company fails, you just get smarter and better with each failure, and then it's as long as you keep going, like it's inevitable that you'll succeed.
Yeah.
As long as you keep improving. Um, but I also think like if you're young, like you already have such a strong edge over like the typical like older startup founder. Um, it's because like people want to hear stories at the end of the day, and then the more unique the story, the more different the story, like the more people will tune in, and they'll deeply resonate with your story, even if they um, weren't really in your position. Like it's kind of like seeing how their own life would play out if they chose a different path that you're currently on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I think I think that's definitely an interesting way to think about it. As somebody who's like a little bit younger, but kind of just thinking about like how like personal branding really is more important than the company's branding. Um, Especially like like when you're trying to grow the company as being the face of it and trying to like spread it. I really want to ask how do you handle rejection, like whether it be from like an investor, from a customer, or like somebody online that maybe just might not agree with your guys' company. Just like how do you deal with that, or like how do you combat that?
I heard this like banger Alex Ramosi quote: "Success rejects all first-time applicants." So I think if, especially in the startup world or just like in life in general, like you have to get used to the feeling of rejection. Um, Most of the time, just like extract as much value as possible from it, and then just move on as soon as possible. Um, but in also there's like cases where um, like you did nothing wrong. It's just that the investor might not be a great fit like objectively for your company. So you just have to like recognize that, accept that, and then go chase your dreams even harder.
Mm,
What's been
you know,
that
on
most? But
sorry, I really like that you said that. You gotta go back and chase your dreams even harder. It hits like really deep, right? And like you said, like you might be planning to like move to like Cali, maybe like drop out like fully. Um, do you ever think you're gonna go back to school?
Hmm.
This is like truly a testament to like how much do you believe in UGC?
hey, but Mark Zuckerberg might not have graduated, but he went back to Harvard to give a commencement
Mm,
speech. They give him an honorary
yeah,
degree. So you never know. You might go to back to your high school and give some kind of speech to the kids.
right.
Yeah, yeah, maybe. Um, hmm. I mean, like in general, it's just like such a cool move to leave some place, grind for like a few years, and then come back, and then like everyone's just
I'm up now.
welcoming you, and yeah, it's just like
Yeah.
straight out of a movie. But yeah, it's fun, it's exciting. Um, I think right now it's a bit too early to tell. Like I'm still, I think everyone's still figuring it out. Um, but yeah, we'll see where it goes.
Yeah. Where that was actually my next question for you. Where do you see yourself and your company in the next 2 to 3 years?
Hmm. So first off, definitely in SF in the Bay Area, because
Yeah.
I mean that's like the best place in the world for startups. Like a super high concentration of just smart and ambitious and hardworking people. Um, Regarding the company, I think we can. We're aiming at um, like six figure MRR. Um,
Yeah.
and then like once we get that, like we can pretty much get into YC and like A16Z. But like obviously that's like no certainty there.
What are your
But
thoughts on YC and A16? Because previous guests that we've had literally said that he does not like accelerator programs because he feels like those exact same resources are available to you for free out there instead of having to give up your equity or give up X amount of times and commitments and having to move to SF and do this. And granted, it was from a different perspective because he was a direct co-founder and he's also a third year at UW Madison. But how do you feel about those combinators? Do you feel like that's the only path, or do you just feel like it's really helpful in general?
I think it's definitely not the only path, but it's hmm.
Or is it just the aura that you get from putting YC in the LinkedIn bio?
Bro, that's like a super interesting point because like I vaguely remember this like really interesting LinkedIn post I thought I saw. It was like YC doesn't give you like valuable information, like because it's all on the website and like on YouTube, as you said, and it doesn't really even give you like the biggest benefit isn't even that it gives you like a really good community because you have LinkedIn for that, right?
Yeah.
Um, so so the main benefit, like the biggest benefit you get is that it gives you confidence that what you're doing and who you are is actually worth pursuing.
Mm.
Mhm.
So you
I
can pretty
actually,
much, yeah, like do whatever you want, um, and you have confidence and validation that it will pretty much always work because you are super cracked, you know.
yeah. Um,
Yeah.
I struggle with imposter syndrome sometimes, and I've got a lot of advice about it. And what people always tell me is you have to remember at the end of the day, someone decided to invest their time, their effort, and their money in you and for to make you succeed. And I feel like that is a really good point that applying to YC or applying to A16 and being in like a pool of thousands of applicants and they choose you, it really like gives you that boost of like, wow, what I'm doing really is important. What I'm doing really is going to be impactful.
Yeah.
Yep. Um, on that note, of like feeling that like what you're doing is like pursuable, feeling like your company is like really worth something. I want to ask you, like, if there was another young person that was considering, doing a startup or wanting to be a founder, or even like dropping out of school to pursue a startup, like, what would your advice be to them as somebody who has been in that exact scenario?
First of all, you just have to document the whole process, ideally on video. That's the best. That's what I didn't do, which I really regret doing. But also like the time I started doing startups, which is like my junior year, is literally the worst year to do startups because it's also like the most crucial year of my high school, and it determines like which college I go to. So like definitely don't do it like during your junior year, just so you have that other option. Um, I'd say just do it like before like freshman sophomore year, or like after you send in your college apps, like go crazy with like startups if you want. Unless if you're like super confident that this is what you truly want to do and like you're locked in on this path. I mean that's like an even greater story, you know.
Yeah. And on that note, with the documenting things on video, let's do that right now. I mean, it's never too late to start. I've been thinking like I'm about to take a
Yeah.
picture right now and be like, "Hey, I woke up today." Honestly, I woke up at the wrong time because I was still on Eastern time. So I set up an alarm for 11, thinking that the podcast was going to start like at 11:45. But since I'm in Central time, then that time was different. So like I'm already like brainstorming like what's my LinkedIn post gonna be today? What am I gonna post
Mm-hmm.
about the podcast and things like that. But yeah, we're gonna start wrapping up soon. I wanted to ask you, David, do you want to leave the audience with anything? Do you want to plug your company? Do you want to give some last words of advice? Any specific quote? You're a big quotes guy. I've noticed that. Really good, strong quotes that you have. So yeah.
Hmm. Okay. I think just try to be as valuable as possible. And on a personal note, this took me a long time to realize, but you have to ruthlessly eliminate everything that doesn't serve you because everything that is left is just pure good and beneficial. And then after that, slowly add in the highest ROI things that will benefit your life.
Hmm.
Wow, that's deep.
That's strong, yeah.
Got me thinking about my life and everything. Yeah, but huge thanks to Avistar for sponsoring today's podcast. Make sure to check out their website. We just launched a new website actually, so make sure to tune in on that. And huge thanks to David for giving us his time, busy schedule today to be on today's podcast. Thank you, everybody. Make sure to listen in on Spotify, listen in on Apple, listen in on YouTube, and thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you, everybody.
See ya.